to items. This here is the first item on the menu. This is a patchwork coaster. These are postage stamp squares, which means the finished size is 1 inch. So this is a 4 inch postage stamp patchwork coaster. Okay, so this is the front. You can see the little prints. Okay, and you can see the mitered corners. And then on the back, this is how it looks on the back. This is crosshatch quilting. I just used some painter's tape as a guide. And here's the front again, which I will be making long form videos on my postage stamp items that I have finally finished. Okay. This is my postage stamp patchwork coaster. This is the front, and this is the back. Okay. Hi. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, my next item on the menu is these are my twin patchwork coasters. Nope. These are postage stamp pot holders. The finished size is 7 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 inches. So we can zoom in and you can see that they're twins. So I call myself doing it where the prints are the same. Like the design is the same. So where you see black over here, and then there's black over here. Then you see the heart and the heart. And then if you see, they're twins. Twin patchwork pot holders. And again, this is crosshatch quilting. I use painter's tape to do it. And then this is the back. So I did a live finishing up these patchwork pot holders. So if you want to go check those videos out, you can. Because I did it 2 nights in a row. I think it was Thursday night and Friday night, if I'm not mistaken, that I did the, it was either Thursday and Friday or Wednesday and Thursday, but I did do the videos, a live video showing me finishing putting on the binding strip. Okay, so these are my patchwork pot holders. And I can zoom in for the people who haven't seen them before. These are my patchwork pot holders. I'll also be showing you all some of my Halloween items, so stay tuned for that. I'm about to show those too after my next item. And that's the back. And that's the back over here. Okay. So this is my two identical postage stamp patchwork pot holders. I think it's a finished size of a 7-inch square. Okay. And then here's the front again of my postage stamp patchwork pot holders, meaning the finished size of each square is a 1-inch square. So you would cut 1.5-inch squares to make a postage stamp quilt item, and then the finished size would be a 1-inch square. So these are my finished twin postage stamp patchwork pot holders, and it's like a vintage look. So I just took a lot of the little scraps I had quilting over 20 years and just cut 1.5-inch squares and came out with these two twin postage stamp patchwork pot holders, like a vintage looking patchwork pot holders. And I'm glad I got them done in time for the holiday season, so I will be able to use them for the holiday season. Okay. And my next item is my postage stamp. This is my mug rug. So this is an item that's 12 inches across and 9 inches going down. I think I meant to make it 10 inches down and 12 inches across, but I don't know, I must have made a mistake or something. Okay, so we can zoom in on this, and I will be making a video, a long form video on these postage stamp quilt items, these little, what I call them, little quilts. Okay, so this is it, and you can see my little miter corners. Some corners look better than others. What is that on there? Okay. And there's some of my little corners, sometimes they be struggling. But I do the best I can. Okay. And again, this is my postage stamp patchwork mug rug. And then this is the back. Okay. It came out pretty good. What do you all think? All right. And then I don't know if you've all seen my carpenter's square. This is also a mug rug. Now I did several lives for this too, so you all check out my lives. You all can see the leg work from the items that I've made. And this is the back. But this is my carpenter's square mug rug. So I have some long form videos I will be making or doing on my finished little quilts, my little quilted items. I call them little quilts. Okay. Then I have my little Halloween items. Let's see. This is the quilt sandwich for my upcoming patchwork pot holder. It's just a small pot holder. The finished size will be 6 inches. I've done lives on this item too. So this is my sandwich. So like I had said in one of my last lives, for my I'll zoom in. For my pot holders, I use 3 layers of cotton instead of the Insul Bright and cotton. I just use 3 layers of cotton, and so far I haven't had any problems. Okay, and then this is the fabric I have on the back. So this is the fabric for the back, and this is the front. Okay, and I have another patchwork pot holder. It's quilt sandwich. Let me show you all that one. So we can zoom in on this one so you can see the little quilt printed fabric in the gray for the solid, the background colors. So you see how that print pops out from the gray, really pops out. So I think this is really cute. And again, see, this is the 3 layers of the cotton batting. And this is the back and fabric. I love this fabric. When I bought this, I bought like at least 3 yards or more. So I just use it when I have items that sometimes I use it on the front for piecing, and sometimes I use it for the back and fabric. But this is the, and I was going to piece the back, but I decided to just use what I had. Okay. And this is the other patchwork pot holder. This is the quilt sandwich for my another one of my upcoming patchwork pot holders. And there's the 3 layers of cotton. Okay. So yeah, this is my other quilt sandwich, and I just pin for my small items. I just pin base. You get some of those curved quilting pins, the smallest one. So you get the, if it's a number one, that's the pin you get, and you see that I was able to pin all 3 layers together, so it'll still go through 3 layers, so you don't put big holes in your prints and all that. Okay, so this is my other the other quilt sandwich for my upcoming patchwork pot holder. And again, there's the 3 layers of batting, and then that's the back and fabric. And you know, when you pin base, you have to make sure you catch all the layers in the pin. So you can look back here and see how the pin made it through all 3 layers, or with it 5 layers. It's the top 3 layers of cotton, then the back and fabric, and it made it through all the layers. And again, this is the front again. Okay. And then I have one more item. Okay, this is the quilt sandwich for my upcoming mug rug. So this is also going to be a mug rug. I think it's about 10 inches or so by 11 inches or so. So yeah, this is the quilt sandwich for my upcoming mug rug. And for my mug rugs, I use 2 layers of cotton because I like for my quilting to pop out. So I use 2 layers. Okay. And I do have a big live plan for October 27th at 8 p.m. Central Time to show off my finished quilted items for my Halloween. Okay. So yeah, for the Halloween season. And then we can zoom in so you see our pen basted. And you see the prints again. I really like this print. The black print with the pumpkins and all that. So yeah, this is my upcoming mug rug, and you can see I used the 2 layers of cotton, and then this is the backing fabric. Okay, and make sure you all stay tuned for that live on October 27th so you can see my finished quilted items. And this is the front again for the mug rug. I was going to quilt this one way, but then I said I kind of need to save time to I want to put my effort into, I'm going to show you right quick, into this quilted item. And it's going to take some time because this is what you call heavily quilted. So I have to cut some quilting time on those 3 items there. To this is gonna be like my show off piece. So this is how it looks on the front. And this is the apple core quilt block. So I pretty much finished this row. I just have to bury the threads, and then I've started on this row. So I was doing like 3 orange lines, and then 3 black lines, and then 3. So whatever the color is, I do 3 of that color, move to another color, 3. So if it's alternating, like this is just orange and black. So you can see how I did the 3 black lines, moved to the 3 orange lines, so 3, and then went back to 3 black lines, and then, yeah, I think that's going to be really cute. So then when I go to bind this, normally I just cut straight strips on together and do my binding. But since this apple core block is curved, you have to do a bias binding. So you have to cut the strips diagonal. So you fold down the fabric and then cut the strips diagonally, and that's the bias strips. And then you just sew those strips together, and then they'll stretch for when you have to go around the curve. And if you, I do have a patchwork pot holder, and you can go look at that video of the apple core quilt block and see how the binding looks when you curve. But you have to cut that strip on the bias in order to be able to curve around, you know, for where you see these curves and all that. So yeah, this is this, and then this is how it looks on the back. So it's gonna be really cute. So hopefully I have all my stuff done by the 27th. So that's why I have to like sacrifice some quilting, like do a quick quilting on my other items in order to finish this right here. This is mine. And then I have another item. Now this is for someone else, but it's still the apple core quilt block for the people who hadn't seen it. In case this is your first time watching one of my videos, this is something, this is for someone else. But see, this is not complicated. All I'm doing is just doing around that. Go or use a 1/4 inch foot and just sew one side at a time. And then this is how it looks on the back. So we'll see how all my items turn out. And then as far as some of my thread I'll be using for quilting, I'll show y'all that too. Let's put it on here. No, that's too got too much going on. We'll use this to show you all some of the thread I'll be using. So I have the black. Then I have this orange. Okay. Then I have this orange. Then I have this orange, but I only use a little bit of that, like just some to, like a little hit of a quilting line. So I may only use 1 or 2 of these lines in the whole project. And then this is the other one I'll be using on these quilted items. Now on these pot holders, yeah. So we'll see how my quilting comes out. Okay, so I can already let you all know it's gonna be crosshatch. So this is the painter's tape I use to make the crosshatch lines, which are the lines on here. This is crosshatch. So I use my painter's tape and just sew on each side line move. So like, you just keep on going until you have the whole thing. See, if I quilt like that, it ain't gonna take me long. Then I can use that time I'm saving to do those apple core quilted items. And then this is some of the little bobbins that I'll just have to wind the bobbins and sew 1 row at a time. These are some little needle threads. Okay, so I plan to use this needle to sew the binding strip onto the back. So maybe make my thread a little better than it's. Hopefully the binding out the thread that I use, or my little whip stitch, or I want to use a blind stitch for my binding eventually. That's my goal, is to use a blind stitch to sew the binding strip onto the back, because it starts on the front and you fold it over to the back. You don't start your binding strip on the front. On the back, it starts on the front and you finish it on the back. And hold on, let me show y'all something right quick. Okay, now we can move this out the way. So these are some of the needles. Sometimes I get a combo pack. All right. I prefer micro ticks, but sometimes when I go to the store, they have universal and not micro ticks, but I prefer micro ticks. Seems like maybe the holes are smaller. So this size here is a 90-14. Now this is what you will use to sew all your quilt sandwich together. Then this 80-12 is what you will use to sew your individual pieces together before you go to make your quilt sandwich. And then this is just a combo set I got. Like, I like to do that too, where you get a pack of needles and it's a little few 80-12s and a couple of 90-14s and another number that, you know, I have to see what you like, that 75, whatever. I would have to see what you use that for. And yeah, so yeah, I just did a look live to show you all some of what I'm working on, some of what I finished. Like I said, I will be doing a long form video on my little on these items here for the items, you know. So yeah, look out for that. I have a lot of stuff planned, so make sure you all subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, subscribe, make comments on my videos, go and watch my other videos. Yeah, but yeah, so I'm just came in on this Saturday to show you all what I'm working on. So this is the back for this upcoming patchwork pile holder. Just to recap, this is the other, hold on, it's the top like this. Yeah, so this is the other quilt sandwich for the patchwork paw holder. This is the mug rug for people who are just tuning in. Like I said, I do have a live plan for October 27th at 8 p.m. So make sure you all stay tuned for that. And should have my stuff finished, hopefully. And then I'll just be able to show everything at that time. Make sure you all subscribe to my channel. Please go and check out some of my other videos. Thanks for stopping by. Check you later.